Okay, lot to get through today. I'm going to get started. We still have some people coming in, but I want to get this started. Because as you'll see as we go through, I'm going to cover everything. The name technology portfolio management is kind of changing as to the context. So let's get into the show. So I'm going to talk as fast as I can and try to have time for Q&A at the end. I've got Josh and Shawan, my peers in product success. They're here to help answer questions as we go, but at the end, we're going to try to save us some time so that we can ask a few questions. Also, please put your questions in the Q&A. We get a copy of it afterwards. And what I'm going to do with this webinar, I'm going to take any questions we didn't get to, I'm going to post it in the community so that you can go take a look at the answers. I want to make sure we get everything covered. This is a very popular topic right now. So we're recording, so they'll be posted. We always post them in a community post. And there will be a short survey afterwards. If you would take the survey, it lets us know how we're doing. And also tell us what you want to see. It'll help us guide creating more of these. Future webinars, you can go to the webinars and 360 exchanges, go to live on ServiceNow. You've got a QR code there that you can use, and you can see all of the stuff coming up. There are roughly 60 webinars a month going on right now. So a lot of content coming out. Have to do the safe harbor notice here. There are a few places where I'm going to talk about forward-looking statements, things we intend to do or want to do. And so it's based on our beliefs and our assumption, what the product team has told us, but things change, plans change. We may not get something built. It may get canceled even. So we have to tell you, don't make purchasing decisions based on these forward-looking statements. But we are sincerely giving you the best to our knowledge at the moment. So thanks for joining us today. Mark Casto, I'm a product success manager in the strategic portfolio management team. I've been in ServiceNow for 6 years, and I'm located just north of Dallas, Texas. So as with all of these, we're going to start off with a little customer journey poll. We want to get a feel where you guys are at. So the first one, and Shawan, can you pop up the poll? There we go. Thank you, sir. So the first one is, does your company have a technology standards management process? In the enterprise architecture product, formerly APM, we call it technology reference model, but it's what we're doing with it is we're managing our technology standards. And so we want to get a feel for, what you guys are doing out there. And great, we're getting some good responses here. Almost to 50%. I'll give it a few minutes. So I'll say in my years working in the industry, this has been a really powerful tool and an important facet of keeping a safe enterprise. So really interested in hearing how you guys are doing it. All right, another 20 seconds here. Appreciate all your responses, by the way. Okay, so we're going to share the results. Looks like, 25%, there's no formal process. 50%, you have a program. That's fantastic. Everybody needs it. How you do it, the efficiency of it, that's a maturity journey, right? 11% have something that's not ServiceNow, and 10% of you, thank you very much. You're using ServiceNow for this. So next is our next question is, does your company have a formal process for technology obsolescence management? Some companies will call this software currency, technology currency. What we're looking at in this practice is, do you have technology that is out of support? We're literally and specifically looking at the publisher or manufacturer support dates. End of support implies, or end of extended support, end of life. That implies a risk. And it's a risk that can actually become very dangerous for your company. So again, we're curious to see what kind of process you have, what tools that you're using. Um, there is a functionality. I know that our webinar today is called Technology Portfolio Management. That functionality in enterprise architecture has traditionally been our software currency, software obsolescence functionality. And it's not just software, it's software and hardware. Um, we're calling TRM and what used to be just TPM, we're kind of wrapping that all together as technology portfolio management. Some companies are calling this technology lifecycle management now. And there's a key to it. It's not just about the technologies, but it's about rolling these technologies up to the systems that are using them. And we're going to talk a whole bunch about that today. So we've got some results here. So we have 33% no process, about half have a low maturity, 14% have other tools, and 6% thank you. You're using our tools. So great stuff, and appreciate the feedback. So on with the show. So as you can see from the polls and from the agenda, we're covering two sections here. There's two facets to this. And I call it a two-pronged approach. Technology portfolio management is about the unification of looking at that technology lifecycle, managing the standards, and at this time, managing what you have, what's actually in use. Those are two facets. So that in use and how the life cycles impact it and apply risk. One of the things we want to start with, though, is kind of an overview of it. Enterprise architecture, formerly APM, as those that are familiar with it know, is built upon a stack of rich and powerful enablement. First, the platform, CMDB, surveys, assessments, workflows, Gen AI, all of these things that makes the ServiceNow platform itself so powerful. Then there's these major applications, ITSM, service management, risk management, portfolio management. That's the SPM group of project portfolio, agile and strategic planning tools. Asset management, super popular, managing your hardware, your software, your enterprise assets. Ops management, that's discovery, service mapping, and event management, and all of those things that are driving the CMDB, cloud solutions, etc. So all of these things, we bring them together into four key layers: business, information, application, and technology. So from this aspect, what was APM? One of the questions I'm getting all the time, there was application portfolio management, now we're enterprise architecture. Has everything changed? No, except that our direction has changed. We, including and bringing all of the application portfolio functionality, we're moving into a world to better support the enterprise architect, as well as all of those, as the IT owners, the app rationalization, all of these things. So these four key layers are still the key layers that are part of the product. As many of you have maybe seen this, at the center we have enterprise architecture and foundationally based on common service data model. We have those four key portfolios, app portfolio, that's the application list that we're working from, those enterprise systems, capabilities, information that's in use, and then technology portfolio, our context for today. We have all of these various other parts of the platform, asset management, IT service management, ITOM, risk, SecOps, all of those working together. And in the end, what we're doing is we're feeding the change machine, understanding your strategy, prioritizing your work, building the work, delivering it, and the circle goes around. Enterprise architecture is the conduit from operations and risk. It is a primary conduit into your strategic planning and into your work plan. What do you think about when you want to build something new or when you're going to improve something? You think about those enterprise systems. That's what we're all about, is painting that picture at the design level. So why a technology portfolio management program? Get rid of the shadow IT. Identify and get rid of unsupported technology. Reduce unnecessary risk. This is what it's all about. It's about risk. Let's get the risk out of here. Two-pronged approach. Tech standards, that's the TRM product, and then technology alignment, some support lifecycle, and support lifecycle risk. So I'm trying to call it something different. We've traditionally called this TPM. This is that technology, currency technology obsolescence practice. Two things designed to work together to help keep your enterprise safe and working efficiently. So the foundations, it starts with, of course, we have the CMDB and operations. This application services layer, you look at the CSDM, for those of you familiar with Common Service Data Model, app services sit in the middle. These are key elements. Business applications, our enterprise systems are tied or consume these application services. These app services are deployments of business applications. The CMDB guides us and tells us what infrastructure composes these app services. Then asset management is working with discovery to count and manage your licenses. What are we using? How are we over licensed? Are we under licensed? Are we violating our license agreements? That's the kind of thing. So this is happening in parallel with the business application management. First, technology reference model. This is technical standards. We utilize the asset management content libraries to align your technology standards. SQL Server is a standard for relational databases. Windows 2021 is a standard for servers, et cetera, et cetera. You manage these standards, and with air quotes, I'm saying enterprise architecture, your technology governance teams are managing what the standards are, because in the modern world, you can't deploy just anything. You're opening the door for risk if you do. So next comes technology alignment, TPM. This is where we use all of this rich data in the operations space to identify what technologies are being used at the level of the business application. We can now say this business application is using these technologies, and each of its deployments, we break it down to deployments levels. So we're going to see that in a moment. And then finally, these technology usages are compared to your standards, and we identify where non-standard technology is in use. From a picture point of view, pretty simple. There is a bit of work to getting this in place and making it happen, but this is, in a nutshell, this is it. So Why a tech standards process? Single source of record for your tech standards. If you've got them all over the place, you've got cracks in your wall. It's part of the wall that you are built to defend against intruders that are trying to steal your data or crash your company. Creates alignment. Your teams, your developers, your people internally, what they put on their laptop, all of that needs to be aligned and controlled and understood. If you don't, you're flying blind. You've got holes in the wall that bad things can creep through. So new functionality in general, we just want to make sure you're using stuff that's been vetted and approved. It has other advantages. Do you have the right skills? Part of your standards is understanding we've got the right skills, we got the right licensing, we have this builds velocity. It ensures responsiveness to business requirements because you're using standardized building blocks, not just whatever somebody thought is the coolest thing that they found out on the internet. This is really important to understand. Um, one of the other things I want to add to this, and this is future looking, not only are we talking about software and hardware, but coming later this year is the ability to identify patterns or what TOGAF calls solution building blocks. This is going to be super important because it is the way that we work. And I mean, we kind of globally, this is design patterns is something that's been around forever, and it is a way to reduce risk and save money. Why technology alignment? You need to understand what's deployed and in use. You've got designs that say we're using this, but what is really in use? What is impacting my system that I don't know about? That's why we want to use a discovery-based system to go tell you. It is tied to the quality of your CMDB and those processes, but the more mature your CMDB and asset management, the more mature your understanding through automation. We don't want people to have to go out and do this. We want it to be automated. And publisher manufacturer support life cycles are the foundation of our risk. They're in fact the basis from which we determine our standards life cycles. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So in enablement, in a nutshell, TRM, you need the ITAM content library in place. So ITAM, that would be hardware asset management and software asset management. It is possible to do these without our SAM Pro and Ham Pro products, but it's not easy. We make it easy. We really are building a better together system here. So to make it quick and keep it simple in your minds, ITAM content library in place. They might be maturing, but once the content libraries are in place, you can start your TRM. Then it's about process. Who owns it? How do you divvy it up? Best practices I've seen is you identify the categories, the technical capabilities, you assign SMEs at the leaf level tech capabilities, and they manage the technologies that are dedicated to that particular category. Relational databases, you have somebody or some bodies that own relational databases, and they identify it. They work through your architecture boards to get the approvals, but they manage what is prescribed for the company. TPM, this is that automation, and one of the most popular features we've had in APM EA over the years. ITOM, ITAM, and CSDM are in reasonable maturity. Maybe not perfect, you never reach perfect, but as long as you have your application services aligned to your business applications, the application services have some degree of mapping. It doesn't have to be top-down mapping. It could be tag-based. It could be dynamic CI groups. It could be calculated application services. All of those will work, but you've aligned your infrastructure to the app services, and Discovery and ITAM are working together to find and normalize the hardware and software technologies. You're in business. Enable 3 jobs and you've got it.
Mark,
So
we've got a question. Sorry, really quick to relate to the topic you're just discussing.
mhm.
Can you be successful with having only software asset and not hardware asset?
Yes, you're just not going to pick up the hardware, but you're going to pick up the software. And honestly, my experience is software is far more of a concern to people than hardware. But hardware is important, but it is a maturity journey. If you were to pick a place to start and you could start with software, you're going to get more bang for your buck. So, what are our challenges? The coordination, the work at the ITOM and ITAM level, at the operations level. Now, that work is valuable for 1,000 different reasons, not just for us. We're taking advantage of it, of course, because all we're doing is rolling this information up to the strategic design level, to the systems that you build and you run your business on. So we're rolling it up to the business applications. You need a well-tuned process for tech standards. Again, this is a labor of love. There's thousands of technology standards in any given company, and having the people, the distribution of people and process to make it happen, process is king. That's what makes it happen. The tool could be a spreadsheet. We would like you to use our tool, TRM, but we understand not everybody's going to use it, but you need something. And without process, it fails. Tech alignment requires a mature CSDM and asset management just to get down to it. I mean, there's other ways you can do integrations and such. We publish and we'll talk about the data model. But honestly, to get her done, CSDM and asset management are the two keys. So let's pop into the first of it, technology standards. Some of our key personas, there's the process owner. Again, process is king, so you need a process owner. Then there's the SMEs, the enterprise architect or whoever. I know several of these people through our customer base. And usually it's not their day job. It's a quarter of their day job. Once a week, they have to go manage their standards. That's the kind of how that role looks. But they're responsible for a category of technologies, and they're the ones that receive the initial request for a new technology. We want a new product. Here's the product description. It comes in from a catalog item. They review it. They may immediately say no and the reason for rejection could be business reasons. No, we don't work with this company. No, we don't allow products from some area of the world. Geopolitics comes into play in these kinds of things. So there are various reasons, business and technical reasons, but the first person to vet it is your SME. And then there's the business user. This is everybody. Everybody in the company benefits and is or can benefit from your technology standards, from what goes on your desktop to what a developer building a new system will use to architect and build this system. Everybody benefits. So a lot of words here. The key is we cover software and hardware now. Coming later this year, early next year, patterns and solution building blocks. Solution owners can request to add new products. You add a product, then you add life cycles on a product version basis. Requests are managed by, and this says enterprise architects, to think of that as air quotes because the title may not be enterprise architecture. I see technology governance board, various other things. So, but generically, it's an enterprise architecture type process. Review the status of business applications, understand how that technical debt, how it's tied back in. We're going to show you how that works through the technical debt process. And in the end, what makes it run clean and work together, it's tied into IT asset management, hardware asset management. So just a little bit what it looks like. There is the products by category. This is a little portal we built. We have a consumer portal that is slated to come out this year, which will be oriented towards the general user who's trying to find a technology under a particular catalog and they want to know what they can use. I'm looking for relational databases. What's out there? Oh, we have approved, we have Postgres and SQL preferred. We have Oracle, et cetera, et cetera. The lifecycle view, this is on a per application management. This is done via that technical debt alignment. Again, we're going to talk a little more about that in a moment. So we've seen this. This is just a repeat. I hope that you get it. Um, Single source of record is critical, and it's not just a exercise in academics. This reduces risk and it saves money. So TRM implementation, you got to have enterprise architecture, the EA workspace, and you're going to install enterprise architecture TRM. That'll get you the bits and set up for it. You configure TRM categories, configure the lifecycle phases. Out of the box, we have evaluation approved, approved of constraints, divest, unapproved. One of my favorite ads is preferred. You can put a preferred, which is equivalent to approved, but you're telling somebody that if you want a particular operating system or you want a particular relational database, here's what we prefer that you use. These others are approved. These are approved with constraints. There are certain rules and guidance that you've got to meet in order to use that. Divest is saying it's time to get off of it. It's time to upgrade. And then, of course, unapproved, that means usage is forbidden and we're going to nail you with technical debt and you're going to have to do something to get off of it. That's the end driver. The product approved flag is how we do that. So you can go in and configure your phases to meet your terminology within your company. There is a product approved for, this should be production approved flag. Sorry, I will fix that in an edit, but this production approved flag just says that this phase, it's allowed. It might be allowed with constraints or whatever, but it's allowed. Everything else is bad. So we're going to flag technical debt if this is not checked. Very simple, but it makes it very flexible. If you have particular processes in place for approval, et cetera, ServiceNow is the workflow platform. Workflow, Gen AI, AI agents, there's all kinds of possibilities for being able to build a intake process that's compatible with your organization. And our customers that are implementing many of them, this is exactly what they're doing. They're building the process to meet their needs. We have some out of the box as a kind of a foundational, but what I see is people are building ones that really serve their purpose. Once you load, you've got it set up. You define your standards. You can take standards are not electronically discoverable academically. But what could you do? Let's say you have you have software asset management. As a part of it, you're going to get everywhere that you use a particular technology, it's going to create these normalized instances called software discovery models. You can write a script. I've had a couple of customers do this. You write a script that will pick up these software discovery models and populate the TRM with the software, and then the EA, the SME takes over and they tune up the life cycles. But you can bootstrap your program with a script. So you can actually get to going much faster than having to manually enter all this. And of course, if you have it in a spreadsheet or another system, you can do imports. That works equally well. But this is a way that you can bootstrap. This will be here. We'll publish this when we publish the webinar. TRM lifecycle best practice. So This life cycle is an expression by EA saying this is when you can use this product. Here's when you can begin using it. Here is a sunset or divest, and here's the end of approval. Your support life cycles guided. So if GA is on March 2nd, 2022, your begin of approved might be a month later to let patches come in. And so you would have it April 2nd, 2022. And then that would go for 3 or 4 years. 1 to 2 years before end of support, you will create a sunset or a divest phase. That says you need to get off of this, you need to move to the next version, you need to take action. The day of end of support, or as determined by EA, maybe it's the day of end of extended support because you have extended support. That's why you control these usage life cycles. That's when you declare it unapproved. So easy. You say, this is when you can use it. This is when you need to look at getting off of it. This is when it's forbidden. 3 phases. This is just a example process for intake and for requesting. I'm not going to go through it much here. A lot of you have these processes. This is just something food for thought, if you will. So again, you'll get this presentation, gives you something to start with if you don't have anything. Here is the data model. I don't want to go through every bit of it, but this is here for your information. Think of this as reference material. This is with SAM Pro, but no Hardware Asset Management Pro. When you install Hardware Asset Management Pro, it includes hardware product, hardware model. So a couple of changes. So it's showing you how it works. Next, technology life cycles. Let's get into it. This is the original in APM in the APM days. This is the original technology management, technology alignment. And it's simple, like we looked at in the overview. We've got our enterprise systems, our business applications. They have deployments, application services. Those application services are associated to the infrastructure that makes them up. All infrastructure CIs support the installed software table, not just servers now. So it could be containers, database records, all of it. And if it's mapped to an app service, we can harvest that information. So one line per technology. Is it a software or hardware technology? What is it? What is the product? What server did we find it on? This server bit's going to change because it could be a container. And then we go out and fetch the support life cycles and we cache them for our own performance reasons and also for your convenience and analysis. In TPM, and we were going to try to get to a quick demo today, we're going to show you, but here's the front end of it. Very quickly, I want to see where I have tech risk. I want to look out 12 months, 18 months, so I can do next fiscal year planning. I can look at it by biz apps, app services, hardware, software, or the servers that it's running on. So this gives me quick, actionable capabilities to go address software obsolescence risk. Again, here's that list, just getting a little more detailed. The biz app, the app service, the type of record, hardware, software, the product model, whether if it's software product, we would have a hardware model when it's a hardware one, where we found it, and the life cycle dates. This final thing, TPM technology life cycle, that's where we cache those life cycles. Here's the view on a per application basis. The old TPM had a nice Gantt view. It had troubles with performance and other such. So what we have per business application, you can go to lifecycle timelines and you're going to see this breakdown. Here you see the technologies that are discovered and you're going to see the vendor or the support life cycles. New TPM data model. So this is important. You want to understand how it really works. Business application. Biz apps have deployments, app services. Service mapping in the generic term will populate the service CI association table. Here's your infrastructure CI, servers, whatever, containers. They will have associated to them a software installations table. When discovery populates software installations, software discovery model is going to be created as a normalized version of that software installation. We follow the path, find a software discovery model on behalf of some infrastructure. We create a TPM discovery tech record. That in turn asynchronously creates that lifecycle cache record, TPM technology lifecycle. It's associated to the software product, hardware product. I don't have it on here. I should, but same thing. Hardware, it would look the same. And then the version lifecycle. So it's really a simple machine conceptually. So the flow, as we described here, we got our content library, we have our application service mapping, the evaluation engine is run manually or by the scheduled job. From a biz app, you can also update a single biz app. We go out, we find the discovery model, we create our TPM discovered technology and TPM lifecycle records. That's it, simple flow. Here's the process for it for your reference. Here is the TPM reference model, the tables for your convenience. And the next thing we want to talk about, so we have TPM. What are you using? This is what's deployed. We have TRM, your technology standards. So from those two, we have the interaction of identifying non-standard usage of technology. We call it technical debt. We know that that's kind of dumb. Technical debt is all kinds of things. So this is technical debt due to non-standard technology usage. So we run the job, populate TPM discovered technologies job. That's going to populate those tables as we've seen. We're going to run the populate technology risk. This is going to populate the technology risk scores. We'll talk about the algorithm, how it calculates the risk, but basically it's going to give it gets up to the business application. It starts at the technology, goes to app service, goes to biz app, and each element at whatever level gets a score from 0 to something. For technologies, it's 100. For app services and biz apps, it depends upon how many technologies. It's going to just get a score. 0 is no risk. 100 on a technology is maximum risk, and we're just summing up the risk. We'll show you how that works in a minute. From that, we create a technology risk indicator for rationalization. Then there's populate TRM technical debts in EA workspace job. It takes each record out of TPM, compares it to the TRM. Is this allowed? If not, guess what? Technical debt record. Pretty simple again, conceptually. So the technology risk calculation, we take each TPM discovered technology and we start at the technology level. For each technology, we look at the end of support, end of extended support, end of life, and we calculate a score from 0 to 100. 0 is no risk. End of life is a year ago, you're going to get 100. So we kind of range it between that. If you're 90 days out from end of support, you're going to get maybe a 20. You're going to get something, but you're not past it yet, but you're getting close. You need to action it. So that's how we do the scoring there. We then, for each app service, we look at the technologies, we sum it up. That's the score for the app service score. And then for each business application, we sum up the application service scores. And there you go. You have a business application technology obsolescent risk score. We use that for rationalization. It's called technology lifecycle indicator. And a little fact about that, if you guys are trying to use it, the indicator has a bug. It's backwards. It says maximize. It should say minimize. So that's something you want to fix before you start trying to use this. So demo. We're running along. We have 20 minutes here. So
And Mark, I just want to let you know we've got a bunch of questions that we'll have to answer, but I don't want to stop your pace. So
okay. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. Let's do a quick demo. I can run through this very quickly. You saw most of it, and of course, my session expired. Sorry about that, guys. Um, we'll do this really quick. I hope. Nothing like pressure. So, front page, technology portfolio, one-stop shop to your obsolescence risk. I want to look out 12 months because I'm planning for next fiscal year. What do I need to work on? I'm looking at it from the business application level. I can slice and dice by the products, by the servers, whatever, but here by BizApp. So I've got this one. Here's the things that were found that have support life cycles that are end of support, end of extended support, whatever. This front date, this is the first earliest date that's causing me a problem. This is an actionable list. I can attach this, I could export it to Excel, I could reference it in a demand, all of these kinds of things. I can start to take action with it. That's the point of it. The technology portfolio, this is where we have everything now. So here are your technology standards. Notice I have hardware, laptops, and I got operating system. I've got hardware and software here. Someday we're going to see the patterns and those sort of things. I can look at it by the TRM categories, or I can just see it by a list. With a list, you can slice and dice all of these kinds of things. So however you want to manage it, this gives you a tool, just a place to go and manage that. I'm going to skip tech debt for a moment. Here's those TPM life cycles. Again, this is the technology life cycles. They're done by the TPM discovery. TPM risk. Remember that risk calculation here? We're calculating the risk, and this is actually showing the indicators, normalized value. Clearly, I haven't run the job because I only got a few in here. Tech debt. Here's the tech debt list. This has the business application, the product, the TRM product level, product lifecycle, and more importantly, this is the reason that this is flagged as tech debt. It's not defined in the TRM. Well, that might be a call for the owner of this a category to go take a look at this, or the version's not defined. Again, the owner of that category in TRM needs to take a look at this and tune up their product reference. The version is not approved for production. So here's one that's fully in the TRM and it's declared, no, you can't use it. It's unapproved. We tell you the TRM phase here. So that's our tech debt. Finally, this portfolio audit, when we talked about TPM, one of the things that happens, we gather and cache the support life cycles. It is very difficult matching life cycles. It has been difficult. I've been doing this for many, many years. It's always been difficult getting them, matching them to the versions, all of these kinds of things. So we don't always get a perfect match. What this does is it tells you we had no match, we had a version match, full version match, and this one actually matched completely. Full version heuristic match and edition exact match. So this heuristic actually means it was an exact match. We probably found a 15.0, but we didn't find a 4569 1503 version of it. So we're just telling you that, hey, we got the best that we could. This is This is a data quality thing. It is very deep. I do not see a lot of customers using this right now. But if you want to understand your life cycles and how well they were picked up, that's what this audit is for. So that ends the demo. We've covered actually, I want to do one more thing. Sorry. Let's pop in the business app. We saw a picture of it, but let's look at it for real. When we do our TPM down here in lifecycle timelines, we get a rendering. Come on, thing. We see the business application. We see the application services. Here I have 3. And then we see the technology alignments, and it shows us the support life cycles. I can switch this view because remember, I know the software product, I know the version. I can use that to query TRM, and here I can see the related TRM life cycles that are expressed. So I get 2 sides. I get our standards and I get what is deployed. So 2 different views kind of encompassing that 2-pronged approach.
And Mark, is there a list somewhere of supported vendors of lifecycle information?
That would be a asset management question. There is, I will tell you, in my out-of-the-box system, I have software asset management, and software asset management currently has, I think it's 365,000 software products. Then you think about all the versions, there's millions of version record or version support lifecycle records. So, for each version, you've got a GA, you've got an end of support, you got an end of life, et cetera. Microsoft doesn't publish end of life, but you have, let's just say, a whole millions of records in the life cycles. But speak with your account team on this. They can probably get you the list. It's huge, 300,000 plus, nearly 400,000. So we've done demo. I'm going to leave the resources. I mean, I think you're familiar with this. I hope that you are. Our expert services, our partners, our co-delivery processes for self-implementation. Now learning, we've just released new training for enterprise architecture this year. It's great stuff. Check it out. Now create. We publish process guides and those sort of things. And then the community. Myself, Josh, Shawan, we write articles up on community all the time. This is where we publish the really our personal experiences working with customers. Here's how you get it done. Here's how you implement. So Q&A, and I'm putting this up there, Vision Series next month. Make sure you join because you're going to hear where we're going with this thing and a lot of good information in the Vision Series. We got about 10 minutes, I think, for questions. So Josh, if you
Yeah.
would.
I've got quite a few that we're capturing here, so we'll kind of go down the list, and any that don't get answered, we will follow up with. So just want to make sure that that's clear. The first one is we have a hard split between enterprise asset management and application portfolio management tooling with Lean IX and service management. It's hard to integrate them together. How can we convince the business to take everything from one hand? Do you have some slides that on how they compare? And I think this will be a follow-up. But if you had any insights, Mark, that would be great.
There's a reason that we talk about the one platform. That I'll just leave it at that. Mark Bodman, I think most everybody's familiar with him. He wrote an article on why your enterprise architecture tool you might want to consider platform-based. Lean IX, great, a great product, a extremely strong competitor. They don't have the platform. They have to do integrations. Right there, you've introduced a problem. And you see, you can't do it. You can't run a single job and show me my technical debt. So that's why the one platform for us is a really strong um, contender. It's something nobody else has, to be honest.
Excellent. Yeah, and we'll post some follow up on the community article once that gets uploaded as well
Yep.
with some materials that we can point you to. Second question, how mature of a CSDM or CMDB, I would say, how mature in your CSDM journey, maybe, do you need to be to take advantage of this?
CSDM, Frank, you can probably get it going with CSDM crawl, maybe CSDM walk, but all you need business applications, application services tied together. That's crawl.
Yep.
And then if you've done some form, as I call it, minimal service mapping, you've got the infrastructure aligned. If CMDB is working with ITAM and asset software and hardware asset management, you're in business. So CSDM crawl will do it for you.
Perfect. Next one, what drives the TPM discovered technology job target? The achieve software models reflect only stuff on one of the drives is feedback we've received from our IT app owners.
So I'm not quite following the question. Could you repeat it? I apologize. So the targets are there. There is a configuration that says here's the C. This is new. It was just released with the latest version, but there is now actually it came out in August, but has not been well advertised. There's a system property where you can say, here are the CIs that have software installations. Anything listed in that, we're going to look at those and bring back the discovered models. I hope that answers the question.
Perfect. Do we have a slide that shows life cycle phases? And I think we saw that in just the last bit that you were showing. But I think there may be some additional content of what type of life cycle is there available.
It's not in this. There's a community article. Look up in the community for an article on managing your technology standards. And I talk about what the life cycle phases are. Um, and I'm speaking of the TRM ones. Those are completely configurable. The life cycles for support life cycles are universal. Everybody talks about general availability, end of support, end of extended support, end of life. Those should not be changed because that's how the world talks about it. So those weren't those while they are, excuse me, potentially configurable, they shouldn't be. That's how the content library is published. So,
Right.
but the TRM phases, make them your own. That production approved flag is what differentiates between good and bad.
Perfect. And so this question is more of a SAM question. The TPR or TRM, right? They'll come across software
Mhm.
products that's not in the content library. There is a request for that. It says, but we're asking them for PPN or a product part number. They don't have that because they haven't purchased it yet. So I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. In your experience, what have you seen on that? And maybe we have to follow up with the SAM team on that one.
Yeah, you want to follow up with the SAM team on their prescriptive. What I'm seeing customers do is build using flow and request, build a request a new product. It needs to go to SAM admins. You can one of the processes I've seen, you create a custom software product. um, that custom software product, then the SAM administrators are going to go back to ServiceNow and say, hey, we need lifecycle info for this. And so when that comes back in, the TRM record points to that custom software product that gets replaced by the real one when it comes in, and you you deprecate that custom software product. Eventually you remove it because you don't need it anymore. You got the real thing. So that's a little bit of the SAM process. Further on in the process, it goes to SAM to set up the software product, the life cycles. Then you also have procurement, you have fulfillment, all of these different teams get involved. Up on our community article, I didn't get to it today, but we have a kind of generic end-to-end process that we published up there.
Yeah, perfect. A lot of questions coming in, well, a few that are around APM deprecation, transition from APM to EA.
Simple, just super
Yep.
simple. APM became APM. It's just a name change. But what's also a change of direction. We are now looking to become a real enterprise architecture tool. We added modeling and visualization as a part of the tool set. Everything that APM did, we still do, but we're going to do it better. We're growing our ability to do business architecture, architecture modeling, and and a lot of the EA functions. But that doesn't mean we're dropping in any of it. So think of it as a name change. And if you have the right licensing per business application licensing, you are grandfathered into EA Pro. You get the modeling and all of this new stuff. Those still on EA Standard, you still have TPM, TRM because you had it before. You can still use those facilities. You just don't get the modeling. That's a quick summary of it.
Yeah, perfect. And I know, yeah, we still have quite a few questions. So if we don't get to your question, it will be answered I've captured them. So we'll get to them in the community post once this is posted. But let's take one of the final questions here. If I use something other than ServiceNow for SAM, is TPM still possible?
Possible, yes. Incredibly difficult indeed.
Yes.
It's you will have to write integration to populate software product lifecycle, software discovery model, software installation. That means you're going to have to export the infrastructure to this system. The other guy, they're going to have to do the alignment of technologies. You're going to have to bring back that in, populate that software install table to make the whole thing work. So is it possible? Yeah, it's just a whole lot of code and technical debt.
Right. And unfortunately, we are at time, but I did, like I said, I did capture all the questions. We will follow up with answers to them. We appreciate them. Some really great questions came in. So thank you very much
Yeah. Thank you all.
yeah, and thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Shawan. All right. Y'all have a great day, great evening, and thanks for joining us. Bye now.
Thanks.